The distress call. The cargo vessel Stellar Dream drifted helplessly through the void, its engines dead and life support failing. Captain Marcus stared at the control panel, knowing they had only hours left. His crew of 12 civilians, traders, engineers, and their families huddled in the bridge as the temperature dropped. Send another distress signal. Marcus ordered his communications officer. Lisa, Captain, we're too far from any human colonies. The only ships in range are ... Lisa hesitated, checking her scanner. Military vessels. The closest one is the Reaper's Shadow. Marcus felt his blood run cold. The Reaper's Shadow wasn't just any warship. It was humanity's most lethal vessel, designed for total annihilation of enemy fleets. It operated in the darkest corners of space, where Earth's enemies thought they were safe. Nobody called the Reaper for a simple rescue. We have no choice, Marcus said quietly. Send the SOS. Lisa's fingers trembled as she typed the emergency code. But in her panic, she made a critical error. Instead of sending a standard civilian distress signal, she accidentally triggered a priority alpha military code, the kind used when Earth colonies were under massive attack. The message shot through space at light speed. 3 light years away, aboard the Reaper's Shadow, every alarm began screaming at once. Commander, Jake Stone was reviewing patrol reports when the bridge erupted in red warning lights. Sir, priority alpha distress signal from Sector 7. His tactical officer, Tom, shouted. Stone's eyes narrowed. Priority alpha meant only one thing: civilians under enemy attack. Possible genocide scenario. How many hostiles? Unknown, sir, but the signal indicates critical emergency. Civilian vessel Stellar Dream with 12 souls aboard. 12 civilians against unknown hostiles? Stone stood up, his jaw clenched. Humanity had learned long ago that when civilians were threatened, there was no such thing as overkill. Battle stations. All weapons online. Maximum burn to their position. The Reaper's Shadow turned like a predator catching a scent. Its massive engines, each one the size of a city block, fired with the force of controlled suns. The ship's AI, nicknamed Death's Calculator by the crew, began running millions of combat scenarios. In the weapons bay, Chief Roberts supervised the loading of humanity's most devastating arsenal. Planet Cracker missiles, antimatter torpedoes, and the crown jewel, the Void Cannon, a weapon so powerful it could punch holes through moons. Sir, should we load everything? Roberts asked, overcome. Everything, Stone confirmed. If someone's attacking our civilians, they're about to learn why the galaxy whispers our name in fear. Back on the Stellar Dream, Lisa noticed her mistake on the communication log. Her face went pale. Captain, I sent the wrong code. What do you mean? I sent priority alpha. They think we're under attack. Marcus grabbed the nearest seat as realization hit him. They hadn't just called for help. They'd summoned humanity's angel of death. And it was coming at maximum speed, armed for war, against an enemy that didn't exist. Try to send a correction. I can't. Our transmitter is failing. Outside their viewport, space itself seemed to shudder. The Reaper's Shadow dropped out of hyperspace like a thunderbolt, its kilometer-long hull bristling with enough firepower to sterilize a solar system. Asterisk. First contact gone wrong. Commander Stone stood on the bridge of the Reaper's Shadow, studying the tactical display. The civilian vessel floated helplessly before them, but his scanner showed something else. 3 unknown ships approaching from the opposite direction. Sir, detecting alien vessels. Configuration unknown. They're heading straight for the Stellar Dream, Tom reported. The aliens were the Pakari, a peaceful merchant species making their first journey into this sector. Captain Kolo of the lead Bakari vessel had also detected the distress signal and was coming to help. Their 3 ships were painted bright colors, a sign of friendship in their culture, and their weapons were minimal, just basic defensive systems. But to Stone's battle-ready eyes, 3 unknown alien ships approaching a distressed human vessel looked like only one thing: an attack. Force. They're not responding to our hails. Lisa reported from her station. The Pakari were trying to respond, but their translation systems couldn't process human military encryption fast enough. To them, the massive warship that had appeared was incomprehensible. Their scanners couldn't even classify what they were looking at. "Captain, should we send a greeting transmission?" asked Kolo's communication officer. Dara "Yes. Prepare the standard peaceful contact protocol. Include medical assistance offers." Kolo replied, his 4 arms working the controls of his ship. But what happened next would become a legend across the galaxy. The Reaper's Shadow's AI interpreted the Pakari's scanning beams as target acquisition. Stone saw the data and made a decision that would haunt him, but one any human commander would make when civilians were at stake. Warning shot. Let them know to back off. The Reaper fired a single plasma bolt past the lead Pakari ship. The superheated projectile, traveling at near light speed, passed so close that it melted half their sensor array. To the Pakari, it was like having a star thrown at them by the ancient void. Kolo gasped. What kind of weapon was that? "Captain, they're charging something bigger." Dara screamed. The Reaper's Shadow's void cannon began its charging sequence. Space around its barrel started to warp, reality itself bending under the massive gravitational forces being generated. The weapon that had once cracked a moon in half during the siege of Titan was now aimed at 3 merchant ships. On the Stellar Dream, Marcus watched in horror. "We have to stop this." "How?" "Our comm system is barely working." Lisa was frantically trying to boost their signal. Marcus made a desperate decision. "Can you send a visual signal? Something simple?" "Maybe ... yes. I can flash our running lights in Morse code." As Lisa worked, the Pakari ships began to retreat, but their engines were no match for military hardware. Captain Kolo made a desperate choice. He ordered his ships to dump their cargo and run. Hundreds of containers billed into space, filled with rare minerals and trade goods. Stone watched the cargo dump and misinterpreted it. They're deploying mines or combat drones. All point defense online. The Reaper's Shadow's countless point defense turrets opened fire, turning the innocent cargo into glittering debris in seconds. Each container exploded in brilliant colors as exotic minerals vaporized. But then Stone noticed something odd. "Wait." "Enhance Sector 4. On the screen, one of the containers had broken open, revealing not weapons, but ... toys. Thousands of alien toys meant for colony children, now drifting through space. "Sir," Tom suddenly shouted, "the Stellar Dream is signaling." Morse code on their lights. The message was simple. "Nitrogen monoxide attack. Mistake. Please stop." Stone's face went pale as he realized what was happening. "Ceasefire. All weapons stand down." But the Pakari had already sent their own distress signal. Across their trade network, the message spread. Humanity shoots first at peaceful ships. Their warship had attacked innocent merchants coming to help. Meanwhile, on the Stellar Dream, a new problem emerged. The stress of the situation had caused their reactor to begin overloading. They now had a real emergency. "Captain, core temperature critical." The engineer, Mike, reported. Marcus grabbed the comm. "Lisa, send a new message. Tell them we're going to explode." But would the Reaper's Shadow believe them after the false alarm? And how would humanity explain attacking peaceful aliens to the galactic community? The real crisis. The bridge of the Reaper's Shadow fell silent as Commander Stone processed the situation. They just fired on peaceful merchants. But before he could issue new orders, his sensor screamed again. "Commander, the Stellar Dream's reactor is going critical. Explosion in 4 minutes." Tom's voice cracked with urgency. This time, it was no false alarm. The civilian vessel's old reactor, already damaged, had been pushed past its limits by the stress. Radiation levels were spiking dangerously. Can we evacuate them? Stone asked. Negative, sir. Our docking bay is too far. They'll explode before we can reach them. Stone's mind raced. 12 civilians were about to die, and 3 alien ships were retreating in terror from humanity's unprovoked attack. This disaster would echo across the galaxy. Unless ... tactical, can the void cannon be modified? Sir? Tom looked confused. Not as a weapon. Can we use its gravitational field as a tractor beam? The bridge crew exchanged glances. The void cannon was designed to destroy, not save. But Chief Roberts' voice crackled over the comm. Theoretically, sir. But one miscalculation and we'll crush them like an egg. Do it. All power to the void cannon. Configure for gravitational pull, minimal setting. On the Pakari ships, Captain Kolo watched in confusion as the terrifying warship's main weapon began charging again. They're going to destroy the human vessel too? Their own people? No, wait, Dara said, studying her readings. The gravity signature is different. They're trying to pull them closer? The Reaper's Shadow's void cannon activated at 2% power. Space itself bent as an invisible hand reached out, gently grasping the stellar dream. The civilian vessel lurched, then began moving toward the warship, hull stress at maximum. Lisa reported on the stellar dream. We're breaking apart. Reduce power by half. Stone ordered. The pull weakened, but time was running out. Engineering. Prepare emergency transporters. Sir, we can't transport through their radiation shielding. The transport officer replied. Stone made another desperate decision. Then we punched through it. One precise shot to disable their shields, then transport them out. Commander, firing on them could trigger the reactor immediately. Not if we're surgical about it. Target their shield generator only. Use the needle gun. The needle gun was the Reaper Shadow's most precise weapon. A laser so fine it could write on a grain of rice from orbit. It fired, slicing through exactly 3 centimeters of hull plating to disable the Stellar Dream's shields. Instantly, 12 pillars of light appeared as the humans were transported to safety. A second later, the Stellar Dream exploded in a brilliant flash that would have killed everyone aboard. On the Pakari ship, Captain Kolo couldn't believe his sensors. They saved them. That weapon, they used it to save them. Stone appeared on an open channel, broadcasting to both the Pakari and his own rescued civilians. This is Commander Stone. I offer my deepest apologies to the Pakari vessels. We mistook your approach for hostile action. Humanity takes full responsibility for this misunderstanding. Captain Kolo hesitated, then responded. Human Commander, we came to offer aid. Your reaction was ... excessive. Yes, it was, Stone admitted. But you need to understand something about humans, Captain. When our civilians are in danger, we don't take chances. We'd rather apologize for overreacting than mourn our dead. Your ship, Kolo said slowly. It's not like anything we've seen. Our scanners can barely comprehend it. Chief Roberts chimed in from engineering. That's because the Reaper's Shadow wasn't built to be comprehended, alien. It was built to be the last thing enemies see. But then Marcus, the rescued captain, spoke up. Commander Stone, please. These aliens came to help us. The least we can do is help them. Stone nodded. Pakari vessels, we destroyed your cargo. Honor demands we make this right. Our holds are full of rare earth minerals and technology. We offer them as compensation, plus safe passage to any human colony for trade. The bridge waited tensely for response. This moment would determine whether humanity gained new friends or new enemies. Kolo's translator finally worked properly. Human Commander, we accept. But we have one question. Why is your rescue ship so heavily armed? Stone's answer would become famous across known space, because in this universe, the difference between a rescue and a battle is often just who shows up first. We prepare for both. Asterisk the galactic response within hours. News of the incident spread across the galactic communication network. The Bakari Trade Guild sent the footage to every major civilization. Humanity's deadliest warship opening fire on peaceful merchants dot in the Grand Assembly Station. Representatives from 40 different species gathered for an emergency session. The Vorik ambassador, a crystalline being who glowed with indignation, spoke first. Humanity has shown its true nature. They attack those who offer aid. But the human ambassador, Diana Walker, had received the full report from Stone. She stood up, all eyes turning to the relatively new species that had joined the galactic community only 50 years ago. Honored representatives, Diana began, I won't deny what happened. Our ship fired on peaceful vessels. But before you judge, understand the full context. She played the complete recording, including the Stellar Dream's accidental priority alpha signal, the reactor crisis, and most importantly, the Reaper's shadow saving everyone involved. Your warship is obscene, the Vorik ambassador argued. No rescue vessel needs such weapons. Diana's expression hardened. Tell me, ambassador, what happened to the Qatari colony last month? Silence fell. Everyone knew the Qatari had been wiped out by raiders while waiting for military support that arrived too late. They sent a distress signal. Help came in 3 days. They lasted 2. Diana's voice carried across the chamber. Humanity learned long ago that in space, help must come fast and hard, or not at all. Captain Kolo had been invited to speak. His 4 arms gestured as he stood. The humans terrified us. Their ship was like nothing we'd imagined. But Coots, he paused. They also saved their people using weapons as tools. They compensated us triple our cargo's value. And their commander apologized with genuine remorse. You defend them? The Vorik ambassador's glow flickered in surprise. I explained them, Kolo corrected. Humans are not evil. They're traumatized. Look at their history. Every species they met before joining the assembly tried to conquer or destroy them. They survived by becoming scarier than their enemies. Another ambassador, from the ancient Silence race, spoke through telepathy. The human vessel classification is disturbing. They call the Reaper's shadow a patrol boat. If that's a patrol boat, what do they consider a battleship? Diana smiled grimly. Hopefully, you'll never need to find out. But if you do, you'll be glad they're on your side. Back at Earth Command, Admiral Johnson reviewed Stone's report. You caused a diplomatic incident, Commander. Stone stood at attention. Yes, sir. I take full responsibility. You also saved 12 civilians and turned a coned potential enemy into a possible ally. Johnson's expression softened slightly. The Bakari are requesting a formal treaty. They want trade rights and ... military protection, sir. Turns out, after seeing what the Reaper's shadow could do, they'd rather be friends with the species that build such things. They're not the only ones. 4 other merchant guilds have made similar requests. Stone was surprised. They want protection from us? After we shot at them? No, Commander. They want protection from whoever might threaten them, by the species that sends warships to answer distress calls. Johnson pulled up a star chart. We're assigning the Reaper's shadow to a new role, Rapid Response Guard. You'll patrol the trade routes. Any distress signal, any threat to civilians, human or alien, you respond. With all due respect, sir, we're not equipped for rescue operations. Then get equipped. Install medical bays, rescue shuttles, whatever you need. But keep the weapons. The galaxy is learning what Earth already knows. The best deterrent to violence is the promise of overwhelming response. A month later, the Reaper's shadow had been refitted. It still bristled with weapons, but now it also carried the most advanced medical facilities in human space, emergency shelters for 5,000 refugees, and a diplomatic suite for first contact situations. Commander Stone stood on his modified bridge, looking at their first official mission under the new program. 3 colony ships, 2 human. 1 Pakari needed escort through pirate-infested space. "Sir," Tom reported, "the Pakari vessel is sending a message." Captain Kolo's face appeared on screen. "Commander Stone, my people are honored to travel under your protection. We have a saying now, better a human's overreaction than a Vorik's hesitation." Stone almost smiled. "Captain Kolo, we have a saying too, peace through superior firepower. Is that why your patrol boat could destroy a fleet?" This time Stone did smile. "No, Captain. Our patrol boat could destroy a fleet because sometimes to save 1 life, you need enough power to end 1,000. It's not about wanting to use it. It's about everyone knowing you can." Asterisk. The legend spread 6 months after the incident. The Reaper's shadow had answered 17 distress calls. Not one had been a false alarm. Somehow, the galaxy had learned to be very careful about crying wolf to humanity's defenders. But the 18th call would cement the ship's legend forever. The mining station, Omega-7, jointly operated by humans and 3 alien species, sent a desperate plea. Raiders, the same group that had destroyed the Qatari colony, had found them. 57 warships surrounded the station, demanding surrender. Commander Stone received the message during a routine patrol. "Distance to Omega-7? 14 hours at maximum burn, sir," Tom replied. Asterisk. "The station has maybe 6 hours," Lisa added, monitoring communications. Stone stood up. "Plot a jump. Emergency protocol. Sir, that many jumps in sequence could destroy our engines. Then we'll destroy them, saving lives. All hands, prepare for combat jump. We're about to show the galaxy why humanity builds ships like ours." The Reaper's shadow tore through space, making impossible jumps that left its hull groaning and its crew shaking. Each jump brought them closer, but pushed their ship to its limits. On Omega-7, Director Allen watched the raiders position their ships. The enemy commander, a reptilian creature called Voss, appeared on screen. "Surrender the station. You have 1 hour." "We've called for help," Allen said defiantly. Voss laughed. "From whom?" "The Vorik? They're 8 days away. Face reality, human. You're alone." "No," Allen said quietly. "We're never alone. We sent a priority alpha. 1 ship against 50? Even your famous warships can't." Voss was cut off as every alarm on his vessel screamed. The Reaper's shadow erupted from hyperspace, its hull glowing red from the stress, electricity crackling across its weapons arrays. Stone's voice boomed across all channels. "Attention, Raider fleet. This is the Earth vessel Reaper's shadow. You're threatening civilians under human protection. You have 1 chance, leave. Now." Voss laughed again. "1 ship? You're outnumbered 50 to 1. "Odds are about even then," Stone replied coldly. "All weapons target all enemies. Fire for effect. What happened next would be recorded by every sensor in the system." The Reaper's shadow became a storm of destruction. Its point defense weapons created a sphere of death around it. Plasma cannons fired in all directions. Missiles launched in swarms, each one finding a target with impossible accuracy. But the truly terrifying moment came when the void cannon charged. "Sir, if we fire at full power, we might damage the station." Roberts warned, 20% power. Wide dispersion. The void cannon fired, but instead of a single devastating beam, it created a wave of gravitational destruction. 8 Raider ships were crushed instantly, their hulls folding like paper. The Raiders tried to fight back, but their weapons couldn't penetrate the Reaper's shadow's shields. The human ship moved through their fleet like a shark through a school of fish, leaving destruction in its wake. In 12 minutes, 30 raider ships were destroyed, 15 were crippled, and the remaining 5 were fleeing at maximum speed. Voss's final transmission was picked up by every receiver in 3 systems. What are you humans? Stone's response became the most famous words in human military history. We're the species that answered, "What if we need to save someone with build bigger guns? Now run and tell everyone. Human space is protected." The aftermath was swift. The Raider Alliance dissolved within days, their leaders fleeing to unknown space. The Galactic Assembly voted unanimously to grant humanity full military authority to respond to any distress signal. But more importantly, something changed in how the galaxy saw humanity. At the victory celebration on Earth, Captain Kolo was invited as an honored guest. He stood before the assembly, his translator working perfectly now. "When we first met humanity, we feared you were warmongers. But we were wrong. You're not warriors who happen to protect. You're protectors who happen to be warriors. Your ships aren't built for war. They're built to wage peace with overwhelming force." Admiral Johnson raised his glass. "To the Reaper's shadow and ships like her. May they be scary enough that we never need to use them." But Stone, standing in the corner, added quietly, "and powerful enough for when we do." Years later, children across the galaxy would learn about the day humanity's deadliest warship was accidentally summoned for a simple rescue. They'd learn how a false alarm led to first contact, near disaster, and eventually an alliance that protected dozens of species. But most importantly, they'd learn humanity's greatest paradox. The species that built the most terrifying weapons in the galaxy did so not because they loved war, but because they loved peace enough to enforce it. The Reaper's shadow continued its patrols, its reputation growing with each mission. Pirates learned to fear its name. Merchants learned to respect its presence. And everyone learned that when you send a distress signal in human space, help doesn't just come. It arrives with enough firepower to delete whatever threatened you from existence. Because humans had learned the hardest lesson of space. Sometimes the only thing standing between civilians and death is how fast you can deliver violence to those who would harm them. And humanity had decided to be very, very good at delivering it. The wrong Sois had triggered humanity's deadliest warship. But in doing so, it had shown the galaxy exactly what humanity was. Not conquerors, not destroyers, but the scariest guardians the universe had ever seen. The end. Asterisk.